Hey, love, and welcome to Made for Influence podcast. I'm your host, Juliet Olabanji. I wasn't going to record a video today because I'm feeling a little under the weather. I don't know if you can hear it. And I was telling my friend, and she was like, "Oh, you don't have to record a video." But I'm like, if I need to promote and it needs to go on YouTube, I need a video. She was like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." So here we are with a video. This video was actually inspired by two of my friends. I was talking to one about like 2 months ago, and I just felt like she is in a season of maybe some shifts. Some pieces are moving around, and I sensed that, and I know that she was looking for clarity, even though she didn't say those exact words. And I was like, girl, you used to journal. What happened? We talked about that, journaling and all the good stuff that comes with journaling. And today, the friend I was talking to you about, she was like, listening to an episode of mine. Whoop, whoop. Shout out to friends that support you. They are actually invested in your growth because they know that everyone has a part to play and our friendship is for a reason. You grow, they grow because they know that, God has deposited something in you and vice versa. So they support it fully. So my friend was listening to one of my episodes and she took notes. She was like, this part, I have some questions about it. Can we talk about it maybe in the weekend? But we were talking about other stuff. And I told her, I was like, you know what? You need to start journaling. So that conversation inspired this recording. I think it's timely. So shout out to both of my friends for in some capacity emotionally sponsoring this video. In my conversation with both of my friends, I can hear the shifts that they are going through. I can see the transitions. I can see that they are emotionally trying to find their place and also making sense of things that is happening in their life. They both recognize that something feels off. And maybe this is for you as well. You know that something feels off. You know that you're capable of more. You can feel it. The ideas are there. It's not that you're short of ideas. The ambition is there. The capacity is definitely there. But when you sit down to actually do something about it, you freeze. Not because you're afraid, not because you don't have the skills, but because you cannot see. You can't see out any of this connects. You have a dozen things you could pursue, projects that excite you, skills you want to build, and above all, impact that you want to make. But when you try to choose one, then pop, you second guess yourself. Is this the right move? Is this the thing that actually matters? Or am I just adding more on my plate? So therefore, what do? You stay busy. You stay moving with motion. You say yes to opportunity that comes to you. Maybe some of those opportunities you even pray for, but you don't know how everything connects. You keep moving, but it's reactive, it's responsive, it's not driven. And that is what you find frustrating. The frustrating part is that you know you are not operating anywhere near your actual capacity. You can feel the gap between what you're doing and what you're capable of, but you cannot figure out what is blocking you. It's not time because you can always move things around. It's not energy because you're good at what you set your mind to. It's not even clarity about your goals because you have those goals, but it's something else. It's something harder to name. So therefore, you keep saying things like, I feel like a piece is missing. And you hear people say things like, you need to focus, you need to prioritize, you need a better system. But that is not it. Because yes, maybe some part of that is true, but what is missing isn't a better strategy. It's not that you need a whole new framework. It's not about more tools. Those things will still come, But the foundational thing you need to kick off the process of putting a solid system in place is missing. And that's what we're talking about today. What is missing for you to be able to effectively use tools and system is what I call the missing thread. This is the thing that connects what you're capable of to what you're actually building. It's the thing that turns a dozen scattered ideas into one coherent direction. The thing that makes action feels inevitable instead of optional. For some of you, you don't need to do less. You don't need to slow down. You don't need to, find yourself. You need to see the pattern. What you need is to see the pattern. What you've been doing is trying to move forward without a map. And no amount of hustle, I have the schedule for today, can make up for not knowing where you're going. When you catch yourself from not moving with the motion, you feel the gap between who you are and what you're actually doing with it. And the question comes back, what if the missing piece isn't out there? What if the missing piece isn't out there in a framework or a system? What if it's already inside of you and you can't just see how it all fits together? Here's what is happening in your brain when you feel this way. All the pieces are there. The capacity is there. The ideas are there. The skills, the experiences, but they're not talking to each other. You're not lacking anything substantial. You're fragmented. And fragmentation has a neuroscience. When you move through life accumulating experiences, skills, insights, your brain stores them separately. Different context, different roles, different seasons of life. And that's normal. That is how learning works. But here's the problem. When those pieces don't connect, when there's no integration happening, your brain can't see the pattern. You can access what you already know. You can't trace the thread that's been there all along. The part of your brain that plans and executes is your prefrontal cortex. So your prefrontal cortex starts sending you signals. I know there is something here. I can't just see what it is. The feeling of something missing is not just a vague emotion, so I don't want you to dismiss that. It is your brain trying to tell you that you have pieces of a puzzle that haven't been assembled yet. Journaling is how you assemble the pieces to your puzzle. Here's what most people don't know about journaling. It is not just reflection, it is integration. When you write, when you take the time and sit down and truly write, not just list tasks or capture ideas, something remarkable happens in your brain. The emotional centers and the reasoning centers begin to synchronize. They start talking to each other. Scientists at Stanford University studied this in 2001. They found that expressive writing helps the brain recover from fragmentation, things that have been sectioned off differently but not connecting. And the mid-cingulate cortex, the region that fires when you are under stress or feeling disconnected, becomes calmer, more coordinated. There's a process called affect labeling. When you put your thoughts and feelings into actual words on a page, your prefrontal cortex activates and begins to organize information that was previously scattered. It's like your brain is finally able to sort through the filing cabinets. So here's one takeaway I want you to know. Writing doesn't just help you process emotion, it helps you reconstruct pattern. And here's what matters even more. When you write by your hands and you're not just typing or speaking to your phone through voice text, you activate more region of your brain. Your hand moves slower than your thoughts. And in that slowness, something happens. Your mind catches up with itself. You start to see connection you couldn't see before. The thread you've been looking for, it's not missing. It's just been encoded across dozens of different experiences, conversations, seasons of life. And your brain needs a specific kind of process to weave them all together. And that process is journaling. So it's not just a trendy thing when people say they're journaling. It's part of self-care, self-healing, more so orchestrated by God. Hey. So you don't need to journal every day for you to get the benefit of journaling. You don't need the perfect routine. You just need to know how to practice journaling, which practice of journaling matches to what you're trying to solve. So think of this as 3 different ways to help your brain see the patterns. And we're going to go through them now. The first journaling practice is what I call the excavation. This is for when something is taking space in your mind and you can't quite name it. Set a timer for about 15 to 20 minutes. Write about something you're still carrying. It could be from your previous season. It could be, anything that is causing a disturbance. Maybe it's the version of you left behind when you took the practical route. Maybe it's the career pivot that you walked away from. Maybe it's the disappointment of realizing your strengths aren't being used in the way that you ought to use them or you thought you should be using them. Maybe it's the fear that you've been playing it safe for so long when you've forgotten what being bold feel like. I want you to write about it. Don't edit. Don't perform. Don't write with what you think you should feel. Write what's actually there. This is called expressive writing. And it was developed by psychologist James Penbaker. It works because your brain treats unresolved emotion as background noise. And background noise drains your capacity, drains your energy. Writing completes the loop. It gives your brain permission to stop running program in the background. You might feel tired afterwards. That's normal. You're not falling apart. You're finally letting your brain finish processing something it's been trying to work through. And maybe your brain has been trying to work through this for months, maybe years. I had a woman tell me, I wrote about why I keep saying yes to opportunities I don't actually want. And I realized I am waiting for someone to tell me I'm allowed to want something else. That was big for her. That was a breakthrough for her. That's what this practice does. It clears the clutter so you can see what is underneath. Journaling practice 2, the anchoring. This is for you when you feel like you're constantly chasing the next thing and losing sight of what's already working. I want you to write down 3 things that felt aligned today. Not grateful, but aligned. Maybe it was the conversation where you knew exactly what to say. Maybe it was the moment you made a decision quickly because you just knew. Maybe it was the project where time disappeared because you were actually engaged. Be specific. Don't write, I'm grateful for my work today. Right? Today, when I was working on blah, 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 I noticed my emotion shifted. I noticed I was more connected. That moment, I was finally able to X, Y, and Z. And that is what I've been trying to achieve. And this feels like something that I should be working on or I should do more of. This is why this thing works. When you write in detail about moments of alignment and even layers of gratitude in that alignment, your brain starts building association. It starts recognizing a pattern of what truly fuels your soul. Oh, these moments all have something in common. Neuroscientists have actually found that this kind of focused attention activates the region of the brain that regulates motivation and decision making. So over time, you're literally training your brain to recognize what fuels you, what feels aligned with you, what feels most like you, what you have deposited inside of you. And once you can recognize it, you can start building towards it intentionally. This is about teaching your brain to see the data point that reveals your actual direction. Maybe even for some of you, your purpose. Journaling practice number 3, I call the thread. This is the one that changes everything. Pick something that recently happened, a decision you made, a moment where you felt stuck, a conversation that revealed something, an opportunity you said yes or no to. I want you to write 3 things. What happened? Just the facts, no judgments, just the facts. 2, what it revealed. What does it reveal about your values? What does it reveal about your patterns? What does it reveal about what you're actually drawn to? Then number 3, I want you to write one insight you are taking forward from it. This is called reflective reframing. It strengthens the part of your brain that connects past experience to future action. But more than that, this is how you find the thread. Remember the one we talked about at the beginning? Yeah. You start to notice that the times you felt most alive all had something in common. Or that the times you felt most stuck all violated the same principle. Or that the opportunities that excite you all point in the same direction. I have a friend that I was passively coaching say to me, I kept writing about moments I felt off. And then I realized every single one was a moment that I was performing capability instead of actually using it. And that told her something about herself. And when you do this exercise, it should and it will tell you something about yourself. And that is the moment journaling stops being about just feelings and it becomes about pattern recognition. The thread isn't something you find. It is something you see when you finally give your brain the structure to connect what is already there. You don't have to use all 3 techniques every day. Use excavation when something is weighing on you. Use anchoring when you feel scattered or reactive. And use the thread when you need to see what your decisions are revealing. Each practice strengthens a different part of your awareness. And over weeks, you will notice something. You will stop second guessing every decision. You will start recognizing your patterns faster. You will say no to the things that used to feel mandatory. You will stop asking, what should I do? What should I do? And you start asking, what am I actually being drawn towards? What fulfills me? What fuels me? What aligns towards my goal and purpose? Your handwriting becomes the map of a mind learning to see its own direction. So as I close, I want you to think of journaling as self-expression, but also pattern recognition. Every word you write is a small act of integration, a quiet conversation between who you've been and who you are, and even who you're becoming. And when you give your brain the space to connect the pieces, the missing piece stops being missing. It was never missing. It just needed a process. So, if you're feeling that gap between your capacity and your clarity, start here. Pick one practice. Give yourself 15 minutes and see what your brain has been trying to tell you. As we close, if this resonated with you, a few things. 1, subscribe to Made for Influence. Follow the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. Every week, we are unpacking what it actually takes for you to move from capacity to clarity to impact without the noise, without the hustle, without the overwhelm. Just the frameworks and tools that works. If you're serious about integration and moving and executing the clarity that you found, then the Rooted Productivity Planner isn't just a planner. It is a structured system for these three practices. It is designed to help you excavate, anchor, and trace the thread every single day. You can find it at rootedproductivity.com. And if you are a high capacity woman, tired of being stuck between what you're capable of and what you're actually building, I work with women like you. We do this together, from identity to impact, capacity to clarity, pattern to purpose. And you can finally see your legacy at work. You can learn more at iamjalore.com. The missing piece isn't missing. It's just waiting for you to see it. Thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Juliet Olabanji, and this is Made for Influence podcast. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.